Hi all, welcome back to Sho Academy, and welcome to Chapter 12, Coordination and Response. This chapter is important. It's one of those chapters that can easily give you full marks, if you follow the logic. It has 4 topics. Number 1, human nervous system. Number 2, sense organs. Number 3, hormones. Number 4, coordination in plants. Let's begin with the first one, human nervous system. This one has 4 subtopics. Let's take them one by one. First is the central nervous system. Very simple. Just know it includes the brain and the spinal cord. That's it. Second is neurons. There are 3 types: sensory neuron, relay neuron, and motor neuron. You must know the shape of each and be able to identify them in diagrams. The answer of some questions depend primarily on your ability to identify the neuron by its shape. Is it sensory, relay, or motor? Like this question, for example, to know the right sequence, you must know which one is what. So, keep in your mind, this neuron in which cell body is off to the side and a little bump along the axon is the sensory neuron. This with short axon, highly branched central cell body is the relay neuron. And this with cell body is at one end, long axon, leads to muscle effector is motor neuron. Take copy in your mind now. Now we come to the third subtopic, reflex arc. This one is very important. It comes repeatedly in MCQs. You must know 2 things. First, the reflex arc involved the 3 types of neurons: the sensory neuron, the relay neuron, and the motor neuron. All you must know here is the order of these neurons in the arc. Second, the full sequence of the impulse is started from the receptor, then passed through the neurons in the order we already know: sensory to relay to motor, then finally reach the effector. Receptor, sensory neuron, relay neuron, motor neuron, effector. Say it again and again until it sticks. Receptor detects the stimulus. Sensory neuron sends the impulse to the spinal cord. Inside the spinal cord, the relay neuron passes the impulse to the motor neuron. Motor neuron sends the impulse to the effector, which could be a muscle or gland. Effector responds. That's the reflex. Paper 2 loves this. Sometimes as a graph, sometimes a table, sometimes as a paragraph. You must recognize it however it comes. Also remember, relay neurons are found in the spinal cord. That's a direct question. Now we move to the last subtopic, synapse. You must know what it is, why it matters, and how it works. First, you must know what's a synapse. It's a small gap between 2 neurons. Second, you must know what's its function. Allows the impulse travels in one direction only. That's the key word, one direction. Third is the structure of the synapse. You must know 4 things: the cleft, the vesicles, the neurotransmitter, and the receptors. Fourth, you must know that neurotransmitter is the substance that is responsible for transmission of impulses across the synapse, and it is released from the vesicles in the end of presynaptic neuron, diffuse across the synaptic cleft, to be attached to the receptors in the postsynaptic neuron. This is the order that give you the full chain with synapses, not the other way. Don't get trapped by options that reverse the flow. Fifth, you must know sequence of events that occur when an impulse arrives at the synapse. When the impulse arrives, the vesicles release the neurotransmitter. The neurotransmitter enters the synaptic gap. It diffuses across the gap. It binds to the receptors on the second neuron. And that's how the message continues. Paper 2 loves this sequence, so say it with me. Impulse arrives, vesicles are stimulated. Neurotransmitter is released. It diffuses across the synaptic cleft. It binds with receptors. And the impulse continues in one direction. One last thing. If the question asks you, where is the neurotransmitter found? The answer is, in the vesicles of the presynaptic neuron. Now we move to topic number 2, sense organs. And here we focus on one very important organ, the eye. Let's break it down step by step. First, you must know the structure of the eye. You must be able to label every part, in a diagram, in a table, or even in a paragraph. This is repeated in paper 2. Revise the diagram of the eye carefully and know every label. Second, you must know the function of each structure. The cornea refracts light. This is very commonly tested. The iris controls how much light enters the eye. The lens changes shape to focus light. The retina contains the light receptors. Now focus on the retina. Inside the retina, you have cone cells and rod cells. You must know the difference. Cone cells detect color. There are 3 types of cone receptors. Rod cells detect light intensity. They are more sensitive than cone cells in dim light. But there's only one type of rod receptor. Cone cells are concentrated in the fovea. That's the area responsible for sharp color vision. Third, a very, very important reflex: accommodation. You must know this by heart. This is a top paper 2 favorite. It's about how the eye focuses on near and far objects by changing the shape of the lens. Let's start with a near object. Ciliary muscles contract. Suspensory ligaments slacken. Lens becomes fat or thick. It bulges. This increases the refractive power to focus the image. Now for a distant object. Ciliary muscles relax. Suspensory ligaments tighten. Lens becomes thin, less curved. This reduces the bending of light. Repeat it again and again until it's automatic. Near object, ciliary muscle contracts, ligaments slacken, lens bulges. Far object, ciliary muscle relaxes, ligaments tighten, lens flattens. And now the fourth and final part, pupil reflex. Another reflex you must memorize 100%. This is about how the eye adjusts to different light levels. Let's say you move from a bright room to a dim one. The circular muscles of the iris relax. The radial muscles contract. The pupil dilates to let in more light. Now imagine the opposite. You move into a brightly lit room. The circular muscles contract. The radial muscles relax. The pupil constricts, becomes smaller to reduce light entry. This is classic MCQ material. Don't get confused between the muscles or the direction of light. That's the end of the second topic, sense organs. Now let's go into topic number 3, hormones. First thing to know, hormones work differently from the nervous system. While the nervous system gives fast, short-term responses, the control provided by hormones is slower and longer lasting. That's the first key point. Now second, you must know your endocrine glands. What are endocrine glands? They are glands that secrete hormones directly into the blood. Examples you must know: adrenal gland produces adrenaline. Pancreas produces insulin and glucagon. Ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone. Testes produce testosterone. Now don't get confused. Salivary glands are not endocrine glands. Pancreas, adrenal gland, ovaries, testes, all endocrine. Third, regulation of blood glucose. This is critical and comes often in paper 2. You must know what happens when blood glucose is too low. What happens when blood glucose is too high? Which hormone is released? Which organ releases it? And what's the effect on the target organ? Look, this is the blood glucose regulation mechanism. When the blood glucose level drops, the body needs to raise it. So the pancreas releases glucagon. Glucagon targets the liver. The liver responds by breaking down glycogen into glucose and releasing it into the blood. Result: blood glucose level rises. Now let's go the other way. High blood glucose. When glucose in the blood is too high, the pancreas releases insulin. Insulin targets the liver. The liver converts glucose into glycogen and stores it. This lowers the blood glucose level. So it's simple. Low glucose, glucagon released. Liver releases glucose. High glucose, insulin released. Liver stores glucose. Now the fourth point, and it's big, adrenaline. You must know everything about this hormone. It is the hormone of fight or flight. It is released in response to fear, stress, or excitement. It prepares the body for action. What does adrenaline do? You must memorize the effects, all of them. It increases heart rate. It raises blood pressure. It increases blood glucose concentration. It increases the rate of respiration. It reduces blood flow to the gut, because blood is redirected to the muscles. One more important effect. Adrenaline causes more glycogen to be converted into glucose, so it gives the body more energy fast, for running, fighting, or reacting. That's everything you need to know from Scope of Paper 2 about hormones in this chapter. This is Topic 4, Coordination in Plants. Let's get straight into it. First, you must understand what tropism means. Tropism is a directional growth of a plant in response to a stimulus. If the stimulus is light, we call it phototropism. If the stimulus is gravity, we call it gravitropism. Second, you must know the plant responses in both the root and the shoot. The root grows towards gravity. We call this positive gravitropism. The shoot grows towards light. That's positive phototropism. Third, we come to a very important chemical, auxin. Auxin is a plant hormone. It controls plant growth. Let's focus on auxin in the shoot. You must know 4 key facts. Number 1, auxin is made in the tip of the shoot. Number 2, auxin becomes more concentrated on the side that is in the shade. Number 3, it moves through the shoot by diffusion. Number 4, it stimulates cell elongation. So, the cells on the shaded side elongate more, and that makes the shoot bend towards the light. This is exactly how the shoot grows towards a light source. More auxin on the shady side, more cell elongation on that side, the shoot bends towards the light. Here, many exam questions gave you scenarios that can affect phototropism and asking you about the directional growth responses and bending. Cutting the shoot tip, blocking diffusion of auxin from the tip using mica barrier or piece of glass, for example, or covering the tip with an opaque cap like foil paper. In all these scenarios, auxin can't reach target cells, so no bending. This is a classic exam trick. Make sure you can predict what happens in each variation of the experiment. Now let's talk about gravity. In the root, auxin responds differently. It accumulates on the lower surface of the root due to gravity. But in roots, auxin inhibits cell elongation. So the upper cells elongate more, and the root bends downward, growing towards gravity. Let's recap. In shoots, auxin promotes cell elongation. Shaded side grows faster. Shoot bends toward light. In roots, auxin inhibits cell elongation. Lower side grows slower. Root bends downward. That's the end of coordination in plants, and the end of Chapter 12. You've now covered the full chapter: human nervous system, sense organs, hormones, and coordination in plants. Go now and practice the digital quiz in the pinned comment. It covers all these concepts using classified past paper questions. Make sure you don't just watch, test yourself. And to our heroes still revising till the last minute, we're proud of you. All wishes for 100% in biology this exam. Good luck.